So Good Karma says, please ask your team what will be some positive signs in the news that we can expect to see to give us an idea if this horrible thing is coming to an end. And I'm going to ask my spirit guides right now that question, and they're saying basically the end of your leader. Not wishing anything harmful on anybody ever. We need to let karma, the universe, his own birth contract, whatever it is, do their thing, right? But that is the biggest change. Like what we need right now is a change because we're in like we're in a locked cycle, the guides are saying. They've locked up the Congress, they've locked up SCOTUS, which is Supreme Court, they've locked up some of the states, they've locked up the presidency. So we're in this kind of battle royale, the guides are saying. We're in this lockdown where we can't fight back. Okay. So when he goes, that's going to give us an opportunity to spin the wheel of fortune, to spin the wheel and come up with a new opportunity. So I would also, and I know other people have asked this question, I would say that you cut the head off of the snake. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't solve all the problems, obviously, because Vance is Vance, but his people will flounder. They will mill about. They won't. It's almost like, and this is probably actually true, but I think it's a metaphor. But they're saying, like, what if you were getting a signal? Listen, tinfoil hats on, or maybe it's, like you choose, you're getting a signal. This is just their metaphor. You're getting a signal. It's a message. Okay. You always get the message. You get up, the message is going. You go to bed, the message is going. Everything is good. What happens when the message gets turned off? What happens? Like when you've programmed something and it's not getting the message anymore. I mean, I know for a fact this is how cults work, because sometimes when people get out of the cult, it's because they were in the hospital or they had an opportunity to get away from that messaging. And when they did, they weren't getting any messaging. They were blank, lost. Then they started using their own brain, like, oh, okay, I don't, maybe I need to figure this out, right? So that is probably the biggest thing. Now I would just say to you guys, I do have the cannons. I took them on my vacation with me, took up very precious luggage space, because I'm like, this man is not going to leave this planet without me having cannons. I don't care where I'm at, right? Like, I don't care. So I took them with me. Like, I'm like going to start carrying them with me. I'm on watch, right? So I would just tell you guys that does change a lot of things. For me, it's like, I think everyone's going to celebrate. Like, I think people are going to be just joyful, just truly sobbing relief, joy. And that's great. And I think people should feel what they feel, right? I mean, whatever it is, if you're sad or whatever it is. But for me personally, I kind of, and this is just my personality anyway, because I know round two is coming. I'm gonna celebrate, but I'm actually not 100% relieved. I'll be very relieved. So then that's the thing. If you're asking for a positive signal, that's really the best positive signal, because we keep getting let down by all the other signals, right? Supreme Court does something reasonable and then they do something dastardly. So I think that's it. And I still think that he's going to exit stage left sometime between now and October. If he hangs on to November, I would be extremely surprised. Now you have to understand that they're putting things in this man that don't have FDA. I mean, they're doing experimental things. Whatever they're doing, it's keeping him alive, but it's not meant to keep him alive forever. It's not the time. The time is going to run out, the guides are saying. So hopefully that answers your question, Good Karma. Hey, if you just clicked on this video, I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic medium. I do political predictions, have done them for years. And also I have a whole nother channel where I do the spiritual readings, channeled messages. It's called Susan Lynn Spiritual Way Shower. Please check out that channel, because really, if you want to know how to get through this hellscape, the other channel helps you get through the hellscape. It's free. It's completely free, but it talks about raising your vibration, learning your own gifts, is really, really, really the life preserver, the life rope that we need right now. So don't forget to go check that out. Susan Lynn, Spiritual Way Shower on YouTube. It's my other channel. Okay, let's move on. Auntie Vaughn says, what will become of Barron Trump once his father departs this dimension? It's been reported that he's a bit odd and a tad sadistic, allegedly. Yeah, there's some reports from his teachers when he was not in college that allegedly say that he was very unusual and possibly allegedly violent. So what happens to him? Well, I gotta say, I'm more worried about him than I am even Trump, because Barron is a much different, much different, much more serious, much more calculating person than his father is. He's got his mother's energy. Um, I do think that initially, in the short period of time, so when I glance to the side, I'm getting information, right? Initially, he might need to move out of the country, because I feel like there's really a backlash against people like him, like the wealthy or people, the Trump family. So I feel like without having this albatross, which is what they're showing me, which is Trump is around Melania's neck, that she would hit the road, that she would go to other countries. So I think he'll spend some time in other countries, but I think we should always know that he's lurking. And I think we should always know that our work is to make a better democracy, to really show up to every meeting, to really have a voice. Don't ever stop screaming at these people as we rebuild, because that is the most important thing. If we just like after the Civil War, they just basically rebuilt it with Reconstruction and Jim Crow. I mean, they didn't do anything. How long did it take for the Emancipation Proclamation to be read to slaves that thought they were still slaves, but they weren't? Okay, many, many, many years later. So that's our work. Like, what I feel like right now is take a little break, because the energy is literally bonkers. It's not good. You don't want to be in it. Take a break, take naps. This, believe it or not, this is your break time. Once we get on the other side of this, which could be as early as, 45 goes out this year, Vance goes in, but I really feel like next spring, we're going to get rid of Vance. We're going to start cooking with gas. But that's when we need to really plug in, that we need to find that energy. As I always tell you guys, make your list. What is it that you gotta have, right? I gotta have Medicare. I gotta have reparations. I gotta have Native American rights. I gotta have more respect for people that are not white. I gotta have women's rights, including Roe v. Wade. I gotta have Social Security. Make your list, because I want that list to be literally seared into your mind. So whenever you get an opportunity, you can tell them without thinking. You can tell them, I want that. And that's going to be your job. Your job is going to be make sure that you apply the pressure, because that's the only way we're going to get those things. Because otherwise, they're going to remove these leaders. They're going to give us some, toast, bland man, and say, here's your new person. And a whole lot of Americans are going to be so just, overwrought, that they're going to be like, fine, I'm happy. He's not a dictator. Let's do it. Right. But that, my friends, would be a little bit of a mistake, because if we have them over a barrel, let's go ahead and get what we want. Right. So even if they bring us that milk toast person, let's continue to push. Let's not let that momentum. If we've gotten to that point, clearly we've shown them we have the power. Let's not just give it up. Okay. So take your breaks now. That's what I would say. All right, let's move on. Right. June Paintbrush says, what will happen to end Mike Johnson's speakership? There are a lot of things happening right now. And I do want to say this. I did a little chat with my spirit guides yesterday, and I was asking them a lot of questions. I was putting them through their paces, frankly. And something interesting happened to me. And that was that halfway through my chat, the energy shifted. Now, luckily, I've done this long enough, and I felt it. And then I realized that the answers they were giving me were wrong. So what shifted was, if I'm on the cosmic telephone, I'm on a party line, basically, right? I'm just calling my guides in the cosmos. And that communication can be intercepted pretty easily. Okay. So if you're not careful, if you're not really diligent, especially right now, because they are attacking psychics, because we are making progress, our predictions are coming true. You guys are becoming more empowered. So we are now kind of, the target in a sense. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because Mike Johnson was one of those people. Kamala Harris was one of those people. Tim Walz was one of those people who they gave me erroneous information about. But I knew it was erroneous because it didn't match what I had asked before. It's like a chain of custody when you have evidence, right? Was this item always in custody? Did anybody lose track of it? Did anybody not see it? That's what happened. My energy was like, I knew there was a slip. Just a very, you couldn't even tell. I'm telling you, I've worked really hard to notice this. So, talking about Mike Johnson, clearly, if they're putting the energy toward him, then some things are going down, right? You could say that some things are going down. So what will happen in his speakership? Yeah, I mean, they're also like cats in the sense that they have multiple lives, right? So I'm looking at his name, I'm dialing into his name. You see me looking to the side, I'm looking at his name to really focus my energy on him. And I'm going to tell you this is the answer for a lot of things, and it's a surprise. Like there's a surprise thing that they never see it coming. Like they're like literally shocked. And I think we're shocked. That's the thing. Like not only is Mike Johnson shocked, I'm shocked. I'm like, holy moly, what happened? The Democrats did this thing, right? So I think that he's going to be caught unawares, is what the guides are saying. He's going to be surprised. He's not going to be able to prepare. Another thing that the Republican Party is doing right now that's actually helping us, they're so self-assured that they're looking in the wrong direction. They're literally looking, they're so self-assured. They're like, this is where the problem is coming from. In reality, the problem is coming from over there on the opposite side, and they're not looking because they just think they have us where they want us and that we're weak and we can't do anything. But what these people don't understand is that, and you cannot deny, whether or not you want to say it's God or Buddha or the universe or even just dumb luck, you can't deny that spirit or dumb luck gets involved sometimes and things happen and you're like, okay, that's interesting, right? Like that happened out of the blue. And that's the kind of thing that I see happening to Johnson. He is caught unawares. And these things can come from like whistleblowers. I tell you guys, this is the year of the whistleblower. And also something I failed to mention in the reading yesterday in the video was double crossing. Around the CK thing, somebody's double crossing somebody. Somebody is setting somebody up. So this energy is like nothing is what you think it is. Because if you go, oh, well, those guys were making hand signals, which they were, and I believe they were, and I believe they were doing it. But what if they were doing it to just throw us off so we would look at that? And it didn't do anything at all except for create a distraction, a rabbit hole for us to go down. This is what I'm talking about with Mike Johnson. This is everything. They're creating layers of reality. So yeah, that little speck, when somebody lies, oftentimes there's a grain of truth in that lie, but then it's surrounded by 1,000 grains of truth, which are not true. But that grain of truth makes you believe. That's the hook, makes you believe the whole thing, right? So I feel like Johnson is going to be surprised. He doesn't keep his power. But this is the part that I can't see. And I'm telling you guys, I even put myself in a whole kind of a trance. Because sometimes if I really need to know something, I'll just put myself in a trance and I'll talk to my higher self. because my higher self, I bypass the ego. I bypass the thinking brain even more. So like now, if it's 60% spirit guides, well, then it's 100% spirit guides, right? So I even put myself in a trance. They wouldn't tell me. They flat out wouldn't tell me about how the government forms or how the government crashes and burns and then forms. Now, that could be because I don't want to know, or I shouldn't know, or I can't handle it, or it could mean that it's not done yet. It's not decided yet. We can't tell you because all these humans are busy still making free will choices, and these are big choices. These are big decisions. So that changes everything. Just like CK getting offed changed everything overnight. In a minute, it changed everything, right? So these things are a little up in the air. So I just feel like Johnson is out, but I wish I could understand. I think 45, 47 goes out. I think it's going to be a natural causes. I don't think it's going to be natural causes, but I think it's natural causes, if you get what I'm saying. And then Vance steps in, and Vance is pretty scared about things. It's almost like he had, like when I go into his energy, his stomach is upside down. Like when you go on a plane or a roller coaster and your stomach just drops, you know what I mean? And you just get sick. That's what he feels like. So if he goes, Vance goes, then does Johnson come in, right? These are the things that are not decided. I think there's a 50% chance that we have an election next year. I think there's a very small chance, but there's still a chance. It's a very small chance that Vance stays in office for a little bit longer, for like a whole year. A very small chance. You guys sometimes don't hear all my words, and then you get in the comments and it's clear that you didn't hear all the words. So for the most part, I think Vance is out, but I don't see Johnson. I see if Johnson is in, it's because he's an interim president, which a lot of us have seen, some kind of placeholder president. And it's a mess. It's a mess. At that point, I see Republicans and Democrats, Republicans fighting each other, Republicans and Democrats. I mean, everybody is chaos. It just feels like chaos. And everybody now wants to blame everybody else for what's happening. Those people that made it happen now want to completely rewrite history and have the new dialogue that it was really something else. We've seen this over and over again, right? So that's what I would just say about that. I don't see, there is a threat. When I looked at him just right, there is a threat from somebody in Congress, like MTG or somebody, to call a vote on him. There is a threat around November or December. So there is a threat for that to happen. He's on shaky ground. He doesn't have control, especially with no Trump. You see what I'm saying? With no Trump, you got nothing. There's nobody holding this. The glue is gone. There's nothing holding everything together. And now it's a melee. So, yeah, we don't want to be Mike Johnson. Who would want to be Mike Johnson? Nobody. Okay, let's move on. So Sue Cobb says, thank you. You're welcome. And this is a Canadian. We love you. You just heard a retired Canadian politician say that the new prime minister wouldn't sit down with 45, 47 or his minions regarding this protective dome, this the dome that would shoot down, I assume, satellites or drones or whatever. And you're wondering if you're saying Carney, your Prime Minister Carney, won't sit down with 45. I believe that. I think if he does sit down with him, it is to yank his chain. It's a ruse. The guides are saying, look over here. And that's Carney meeting with Trump. Meanwhile, somebody in Carney's cabinet or parliament or whatever it is somewhere else working out a deal. It's just to give them breathing room. So again, like it's a toddler. If you give Trump a TV tray with some ketchup on it and an iPad, then he's busy. That's what Carney's going to be doing. Look here, look at this thing. Meanwhile, Canada's going to be sourcing this from a different country, maybe France, or France has something to do with it in some way. So I don't think it's bad. You're wondering if it's creepy because they're kind of like spying on you. And, this is what the guide said last year. Even before the police state happened that we're in, they said, well, we're going to be in a police state because even if Kamala was president, the information that's coming in, the all of the bad information, the misinformation, the disinformation. Now we're going to have deep fake AI videos. We have to control this stuff, which means to a degree, we're going to lose a little bit of our freedom. The question is the person who's controlling that, do they have oversight? Trump does not have oversight. There is no oversight. When the Dems get in, and in your country, you're going to have oversight because Canadians will not put up with this. You guys you're not going to love people peering into your neighborhoods or your back. That's not going to work. But the problem is, I think it's a necessary evil. I think with this newfound bad situation with the United States, you guys and a lot of other countries realize that you're not very safe, that you really need to create your own independent protections. Whereas before, we sort of all banded together. And that's not how we're going to be going forward. The United States is going to be left behind as other countries either fund their own standalone security or create new security groups or both. Hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, so one more Canadian question, Grace Seeker, because we love Canadians here, says, if possible, I'd love to hear what the spirits have to say about my country's immediate future, particularly with regard to the threats to our sovereignty, which have been coming from the Red Hat regime ever since the Orange one took office, as well as foreign-funded movement to to fracture our nation and stoke dissent. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys have your own oil area like we do, and that area is kind of the red hat. That's kind of very conservative, right? That's where I feel like the place where the misinformation is going is into that area. But the guides just said also Ottawa. So there's also some stuff happening over on the east as well. What it's going to require, and I think you guys are way more suited for this than we are right now because you haven't been red pilled and we have just yet, is be very vocal. Like you guys, you see what's happening to us. What happened to us is we acquiesced. He's not that bad. He's not going to do anything. The same thing with Russia. They're not going to go after Poland. They're not going to do that. Same thing with CK. Oh, he's just a shock jock. He doesn't mean anything. This all matters. These things matter. And we didn't deal with the bullies. We didn't. And now they've got all the power. So for Canada, it's about being more vocal, being more involved in your politics and educating people. Because I knew a little bit about CK, Kirk, but most people don't. Most people just see that baby face and they think, why are y'all hating on this guy? Well, he wants to stone gay people, right? He thinks empathy is a liberal made up thing and we shouldn't have empathy. He has, that guy has inflamed people to take action, against, Black university professor. He's inflamed people to take action against citizens. He maybe he didn't do it, but his rhetoric caused it. Okay, so in your land, in Canada, it's about educating people. Look, this sounds harmless, but it's not. And that's like, I can tell you because I've been doing this for 3 years, and people are like, come on, Susan, it's not that bad. It's rough, right? Because I'm over here going, I told you guys about this bully energy 3 years ago, right? And everybody's like, oh, it's fine. You're being whatever, No, it's not fine. This is our lesson. Our lesson is to really step up and deal with the bully energy because bullies will not back down. They'll continue to take more and more and more. So I think if you guys do that in Canada, if you have awareness and you guys create groups where you can educate each other or other people, or you can just have conversations instead of being isolated, because when they isolate us, that's how they win. And all this advice is also for the United States and any other country, right? That isolate you, then they pit you against this person. So the exact opposite is how we go forward. Get together in groups, honor each other, love each other, support each other. They cannot separate you if you have a community. But overall, I feel like Canada is in good shape. I don't feel like, I mean, there's certainly trials that I see coming and test. I see that coming. You could have big test in leadership, but the good news is that right about the time that happens, the United States is breaking open. Like our nasty, vault of secrets and criminality is breaking open. And I think you guys will go, yeah, that's what could happen here. And you'll double down. It's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, the guides are saying. You'll work even harder to make sure that doesn't happen up there. Okay, let's move on. Hope Suzanne says, when will we stop taking people who are here legally and who are not committing crimes? Well, I think you probably heard the latest Supreme Court ruling, which is you don't need due process. So basically, they can just keep you in prison forever. So even if you have a green card, if ICE, and this, I heard an attorney explain this, even if you have a green card, if ICE decides that you're not going to, that you're going to go to prison, they're going to send you to prison. There's no due process. So having said that, what I think is going to happen is the cities are going to, we the people and the cities and the governors are going to stand up. And even the police officers who I have a little bit of a strained relationship with authority, but even the police officers, look, everybody realizes that we need everyone. We're all important, because if no other reason, if you want to drop the woo-woo kumbaya reason, well, those people plug a hole in our engine, in our economic engine. Without them, we have a big hole there. Right now, hospitals are shutting down. We're going to be very aware of the holes of, I can't go to that restaurant anymore because they're only open for lunch. I can't go anymore because they closed. So this pressure is going to create states and cities and states to create more policing against that. So that's an issue that becomes a little civil war-ish. You know what I mean? That becomes a little, the feds are here and the state is here, and who truly has the right authority here, and to what degree are you going to go to protect that authority, right? But that's apparently that's what we have to do, because we don't have any other options anymore. And that's why, once again, going back to 45, exiting stage right, that's going to help. I mean, I think Vance is worse, really, and I don't think he's going to make anything better. But his people, 45's people, are not going to fall in line behind Vance. So now you're going to have not only the police and the state guard and the governor and the AG, but you're going to have, the MAGAs are going to be out there also policing the situation. It's going to be really wild, because like everybody's going to change sides and it's going to be confusing. Hopefully I've answered your question. Thank you so much. Let's see. Susan Killian says, really enjoy what you're doing. Thank you so much. My question is about the separation of family units due to the subsequent depletion of the workforce. Supreme Court is not helping to balance this. How will this end? How much more trauma will we have to endure? Yeah. Well, what I feel like is likely to happen is we have these swift changes at the end of this year. We get stabilized with Vance, more than likely. I feel like Vance is going to take his foot off of the gas a little bit. He's going to try. He's going to try to pivot. He's going to try to convince us that he's a good guy and that he's empathetic and he understands. Trust me, he's a snake oil salesman. So, but that gives us some time. And then I feel like we get remedy. Right now they're telling me July. Okay, like something good could be happening for us in July. Perhaps the Supreme Court wakes up and reverses their decision once they see, again, the other thing the guides are saying, we can't underestimate the power of this orange turd. We cannot. He's the blackmailer, allegedly. all roads go through him. So if he's not there, then people that had no cojones, no spine, can all of a sudden find him, and all of a sudden pivot. This is why I have hope for when he's gone. They're going to pivot against JD because JD has nothing. He doesn't bring anything to the table. He doesn't have any power. He doesn't have a big contingency of people writing checks. He's got Peter Thiel and Yarman, a couple of people, right? He does not have the army that Trump has, right? So we could see a complete reversal around early summer of next year. And this is what I've always said, is that, some kind of milk toast Democrat stands up and they make a deal with this person to say, look, we're not going to pay no 35% taxes, right? We're going to pay 22. We're going to do these things, right? We're not, and they capitulate. So I feel like something could really start to move now, that's moving now, but then every month that goes by, it's another cycle of towards the new normal, because we're not going back, but we are going to a new normal. And if we can just catch our breath, if we can just get a 2 or 3 month, let's just catch our breath, that would be super awesome. And then I think the thing starts up again. I don't know. Hopefully I've answered your question. I'm channeling. I have no idea what I just said. Dynunet. I'm sorry. Soliel. I'm sorry. I totally mastered your name. Will the Dems get a new charismatic leader anytime soon? Kind of like President Obama popped up from somewhere and won the presidency. Do you guys remember his stadiums? Do you remember that? Cici Puede. Do you remember that? We were in stadiums, like we were watching Sting or Beyonce or, like somebody like major pop star. We were seeing this kid from Chicago that, didn't have a lot of big professional experience. So yes and no. I think there is somebody coming up. I'm not a fan of them because I think that they're not, I think they're a false prophet. Let's put it that way. But I don't think they're going to get to the presidency this fast. I don't know who they're going to put in. There's a slim chance, really and truly, that Kamala runs and wins, because there's a question in here. I always said it's her destiny to rule a divided nation. Not a destiny I would want. Like, I would be like, can I return this? Because this is terrible. I don't want this. I didn't order it. It's wrong size. I hate the color. It's like brown and blah and mustard. I don't like it. I want to return it. And I think that's what she's doing right now. She's like, okay, I tried my best. I didn't make it. Now this place is truly a shithole, and I don't want this, right? But I think if there's, I don't know if she's going to run. When I go into her energy, she's like, yeah, you guys had a chance with me, and I worked really, really hard. And her book is coming out, and she's kind of being very open and very kind of, not mincing words about what happened in the administration between her staff and his staff, not giving her the credit. So I just call him the milk toast. I've already talked about it. It's not anybody that is like a Mamdani. It's not anybody that's exciting, right? Or an Obama. So I think that we have milk toast for a while, because we do need just to have seasickness medicine, right? We just need to calm everything down. Like, if we're not getting everything we need during that time, if it's at least balancing, you know what I mean, where we're not seasick every day, we're going to take that. But that's why I tell you guys, we have to keep pushing, because we don't get stuck in that. We don't want to give up with milk toast. There is a dynamic person coming in. Believe me, if this person is coming in. I think this person could come in 28. I really think it's going to come in 28. It could be 32, but I think we're going to get like a glimmer of it, or we're going to get a taste of it in 28. And then by 32, America's like, you already lied to us again. You already sold us. We believed you. No, we're not in an authoritarian crisis. We're nothing like we are now, but things are just kind of like, blah. We're not humming along like we were with Biden because all these countries are going to just pass us by. They're not going to do business with us. They don't trust us. So we have to literally pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, like for real. I mean, I think some countries will have pity on us, honestly, but we're not the superpower. So we'll have to get used to that. That's going to take a while. And that's going to be like a collective depression of, are we proud? We're not proud. And that's where the healing happens. Because once you know you have a problem, you can heal it. So I feel like during that time, maybe we'll be revisiting the Native American plight. We'll be revisiting the African American plight. We'll be revisiting the Asian and the LGBTQ and the women. We're going to be looking at all that stuff going, this is all broken and we're not accepting it. We want new, shiny, better stuff. So that's what's happening in that space of time between now and 28 and also 28 and 32. We're actually saying, no, we're not going to. And I think this is going to be a big deal because I think the Democratic Party is going to be like, you should settle. Come on, Susan, be reasonable. Just be reasonable. And we're going to be like, we're not reasonable. We're not reasonable. We already know when we reason with terrorists, what happens. We lose Medicaid, we lose the right to choose, we lose our jobs, we lose our vaccines. We're not going to negotiate anymore. So that's the energy going into next year and every single year after that. But every year it gets stronger. Every year more people join that thinking process. They're lying to us. Nope, we're going to get what we want. We're going to make you give it to us. We're going to make you tax these people. We're not going to raise our taxes. You're going to get your taxes raised. I'm telling you, we're going to take it to them. They are going to, they think they can outsmart us. They think they can, shiny object here, have your Social Security. We're like, we're going to take that. We're going to take 50% of your money, and then we're going to take all your Medicaid, Medicare. We're going to get health care for all. We're going to get reparation. We're going to have our list. We're going to have our list, and we're going to literally be like holding them hostage. That's what I see. So hopefully that helps you understand what I'm seeing. Yes, that 32 is a long way away, but it's not like it doesn't get better. It gets way better this year. It gets way better next year, way better. But where we're headed is stellar better, not just we don't need seasickness medicine better. Okay. So this next question is interesting because I feel like there's a cosmic email chain letter. And I think that all of us are connected to it on occasion because I will get something and then somebody in the comments will be like, oh my God, I got exactly the same thing. And then I'll hear that 5 times. So this next question is that is what's happening. Yesterday, I was talking to my spirit guides. They mentioned Eric Prince. And the question is Eric Prince organizing all these brutal ICE agents? And you're asking, 3 other people at least asked, I've seen it online, I've asked. So either Eric Prince is so busy in the astral plane that we're all picking up on it, or it's a ruse. But either way, his energy is out there. And really doesn't matter, right? Because Eric Prince is a one business person. He's one saboteur. There are many of these people, right? It doesn't have to be him. It could be a whole different name that we're not familiar with, right? That's not Betsy DeVos's brother, right? So when I say it could be a ruse, that's what I'm saying is sometimes they literally, and we're going to get really good at this. You and I are going to get really good at this, figuring this out, this discernment. So I did get that Eric Prince was involved, or his company, and this is allegedly. I feel like his company could be involved. Have to be very careful here in some things. I think that allegedly he's been involved in some illegal things before. And I feel like his prowess, his organization, because it's a very big organization and he can do any number of things at any given time, I think his organization is involved. I was kind of wondering if his organization wasn't involved in some way. They're saying don't say it, so I'm not going to say it. Okay, never mind. Anyway, yes, I think he's involved on a world scale and on a local scale. How about that for an answer? Candida, how are you? Says, thank you so much, Susan from Europe. 2 questions. Will Putin attack Europe? He tried against Poland. What he was doing with Poland, and this is why I say to you guys, if and God bless you, if you've got a, a bully spouse or a bully kid or a bully dog or a bully cat or a bully anything in your life, this energy is pretty much going to make it worse so that you have to stand up to them. So what Putin did was he sent these drones into Poland to measure what would Poland do. You know, he's the one with all the choices, the power, because he's already in over his head. He's got nothing left to lose, right? So he's like, it's like when the bully goes by and smacks you on the back of the head. Do you turn around and smack him back? Do you catch him later and do something? Do you retaliate in some way? Or do you just say, that's Ralph, that he ain't, doesn't matter. That's what they did to Poland. They smacked him. And Poland said, yeah, you've been playing this game and we know you're testing us. And it's time for us to say, we're not going to be tested anymore. We're drawing a line in the sand. And what they did was they said, okay, we're going to put a no-fly zone. Now, what's interesting about no-fly zones is they're very dangerous, because if you say this is a no-fly zone and somebody flies in there, they're going to get shot down. Like there's no talking. There's no, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's a crop duster. There's nothing. If you enter that zone, you will be shot down. And shooting down a plane could escalate the war. So you understand Poland's situation. They're saying, nope, we're putting up a boundary here, but Russia's going to test them. They're going to send things in that no-fly zone. And if they shoot it down, they're going to try to mew to the whole European Union and say, we were just lost. Our pilot was lost. You know what I mean? How they do. That's what they do, right? They're bullies. But this is an important step. I'm happy to see Poland and also NATO saying, we got to do something. We finally understand this man is not going to stop. I don't know why NATO thinks he's going to stop. Napoleon, Hitler, I mean, there's not a lot of real historic precedents for these types of people to just say, oh, I'm not going to invade you. Are you kidding me? Like, what does it take? It's the same thing in America. What does it take for them to wake up and realize this person is going to take everything you own? They're going to take all your power, take all your food, take all your medical care. You have to stop them. Democrats have to stop them. Okay, they have to. Maybe they walk out. Maybe they pull a thing and burn them. I don't know, right? But we're getting to that point where if you don't stop them now, how are you going to do it? So, yes, I think that, and I predicted all of this last year. NATO was going to grow. It's grown. I predicted NATO was going to get a lot more money for arms. They have. I predicted that NATO was going to be beefier and more protective. It's just going to be like pumped up, like, really, really pumped up with a lot more possibility to protect those countries. And that is what's happening. The countries are saying, take our money, take our money, take our money. So I think that I feel like I don't see World War III yet. I don't see it. But I feel like there could be and I talked about this on Threads, there could be an escalation and a put down. Like when somebody just pushes your button so many times, you can't take it anymore and you just conk them. Poland is going to conk, or Denmark, some one of those countries is going to conk Russia, shoot their pilot down. And they're going to say, this is a line in the sand. Don't cross it. We'll shoot all of them down. And if you want to go to war, we'll go to war. I mean, that frankly, sadly, you have to do that to a bully. We know when you stand up to these Republicans, they sit down. They don't, once you stand up to them, they go about their business a different direction, right? So I do see that. If something happens, I see that Europe's going to stand up and it's going to be a direct hit and a put down. And I don't see Russia coming back from that. I don't think Russia has the energy, the weaponry, the money, the people, Nothing. They don't have enough to do a world war. Now, does North Korea? Yes. Does China? Yes. But they don't want it. They're making more money without it. So that's kind of what I'm seeing there. Hopefully that makes sense. Your second question was, when we'll finish the orange one rain on the US? Right. I think I answered that. So I did answer that already. Thank you for your question. I think I talked to Sandy Berry's, when will the insanity start to improve? When he's gone, because that's going to topple. The kingpin will be gone and all the bowling pins behind him will go. Listener, Lizana says, how much is Eric Prince, again, Manafort and Stone, messing with our elections? A lot, as much as they're paid to do, as much as they can do. So yes, a lot, allegedly, for entertainment purposes only. Don't forget Elon. They're 100% messing with it. I mean, Manafort, some of these people are doing allegedly disinformation. There's lots of ways to mess with an election. It doesn't not necessarily have to be just at the poll. It can be feeding disinformation to people, radicalizing people. Yes, they're all very involved in it. But some of those people are pay as you go. Like if you're not paying them, they're not working. So if your paycheck, if their paycheck bounced, then they're not showing up for work on Monday. So it's very much like a contract work. Like I'm contracted to do this, and then I'm not contracted to do anything else. So it's not like those people are part of an army that have this like, I'm going to do everything and anything I can. No, they're like, show me the money and I'll do the thing. So that, to me, it's a little different. Maybe it's better in a way. Dorian says, where's Mark Meadows? What's he up to? Crazy last few weeks. I've wondered where he's been. He's all I can tell you right now is that he feels like it's almost like he's under house arrest. I don't think he is. It could be that he's at a house because he's laying low and he needs to lay low. Like he needs to get out of the heat. But he's in like grandma's house, like a 1910 house that has lots of nice window light with the old pane glass with the kind of wavy, you know what I mean? He's bored as all get out, frankly, but they're keeping him tucked away. He's being tucked away, and I don't know why, and I don't know. I mean, I just feel like he's an asset, like a information asset, an intelligence asset, and if somebody captured him, he would tell them everything. Like they can't trust him because if somebody kidnapped him, he would just be like, name, rank, serial number. By the way, here's all the phone numbers that I have. Here's all my signal chats. Here's, like he would just be like, take it all, don't hurt me. Right. So he's not trustworthy. He's not, they're saying he doesn't have the metal, like the metal of the prepared mind to be able to withstand something like that. So if he gets out, if he gets in the wrong hands, he could be a real problem. But they don't want to get rid of him because he offers something that they need. So he's in a safe place. He's in a safekeeping place. You might see him pop up once or twice, but that's by design. So if you see him pop up once or twice, it doesn't mean he's out running the streets. It means that he's doing something. He's being seen for a reason. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Also, I forgot. Also, for men, they were like, hey, when I say that he could be picked up by somebody, it could be the FBI. I mean, if he was picked up by the NSA or something, he would, I feel like allegedly he would blabber. So it's not just the bad people, it's the good people. He would blabber to either or. Happy to do so. I think at this point he's actually happy to go to federal jail. He feels like he'd be safer and he'd get better food. And he would have an end date to this mess. Like, you're in there for 5 years. Okay, I'll do my 5 years. Right now, he can't sleep at night. He's terrified. He's on pins and needles. He doesn't know what people want from him. He doesn't understand exactly why they're doing this. He feels like they know something he doesn't know. So it's not a great life. Last question, I'll do part two. Many Fires woman says, are the Supreme Court justices in the Epstein files? And allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, yes, they're in the files. One with an A name. They're all in there. I mean, not all, not the Dems, but there's more than the Epstein files, okay? It turns out, I just saw. I think Gorsuch or Kavanaugh specifically, there was something else, some other honeypot situation that he was allegedly, for entertainment purposes only, maybe my thoughts and impressions, I don't know. He could have been mixed up in that. I have to talk in a way that would keep me out of trouble. So there's not just Epstein. There's a lot of Epsteins. He was just the biggest, right? He was the biggest one. But there were a lot of these things that were operated out of Russia and other countries because they're very profitable. And they not only targeted politicians, they targeted business people, and so this is like a money-making thing. So I feel like there were other types of schemes. And those schemes there's some that are from, say, the 70s and the 80s, the 90s, that could be leaked, that are not Epstein. So that's interesting, right? I mean, I didn't even know that. That's just something that just came in. Also, because see, I'm gonna wrap it up after this, but there really is this sense of double crossing. Really and truly, like what they just said was, let's say you're a billionaire, and let's say that you can pay $500 million, no problem, to this, whoever this is, this blackmail people, and you buy all of that blackmail material. And then now because it behooves you, it helps you, you can leak it against a congressperson or a SCOTUS person, because it's going to help you. It's very complicated. It's not just R&D. It's R, like, okay, this guy is getting money from the guy that is voting against me, so I'm going to take him out, and then I'm going to use that pressure to take out the guy who's voting against me. It's very convoluted. It's not black and white. I mean, we really have to get that through our head. It's not like Epstein. There's no straight lines. It's like a bowl of spaghetti. So that also helps them keep from being found out. But so there's a person who can buy this information, and for their own personal reasons, whatever they are going to leak this. And maybe their energy is just like, they have so much money that nothing is good enough for them anymore. Like, they can have anything. Well, can they ruin a SCOTUS lot? Can they ruin a SCOTUS? Well, that's something I never thought about. I hadn't thought I could buy a SCOTUS, but I never thought about ruining one. This is how they think. They have so much money that they're looking for something to get their buzz on. They've gotten their buzz on all the things that are illegal, all the things that are society says that you shouldn't do this. So it's like you just keep looking for higher and higher things. That the guides are saying that's why they ship themselves off to Mars. So they visit the Titanic. They're looking for things that is a higher high, because they've already done everything. They have money to do anything. So somebody could literally take out a Supreme Court justice just to flex. It's a flex. It's like, yeah, I did that. And of course, they're not going to say this to the public, but you better believe their cadre, their group is going to know who did it. It's like, now is anybody going to, it's a power play. It's a flex. Who's going to mess with me now? Because I'll take you out. right? It's these people have too much money and they're just going to spend it on the craziest things that they can to prove that they are the king of the hill. Money is the root of all evil, the guides just said. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this video. I truly appreciate it. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you hit the bell, you'll know when I'm on, when I'm live, or when I'm doing a video like this. I will do part 2. It'll probably be out Sunday, maybe. I don't know. So if you'll continue to put questions in that YouTube, I didn't put a picture on it, so it's not showing up. So I apologize for that. I meant to, but so it's hard to see. Usually I put a big picture, but if you go to my community post, you'll see it as the most recent post and you can continue to put questions there. Just remember, I've got my membership. It's cranking, you guys. You guys are all in there supporting each other, chatting with me. I'm actually doing readings tomorrow for my members, $12 a month. You can learn about that on my website, SusanLynnMedium.com. It's on the screen right now, but SusanLynnMedium.com. Don't forget about my class with Afefe Tahimba of Touched by Tarot right here on YouTube, who also does political readings. She's amazing. We've taught quite a bit together. We've taught over thousands actually of students together. And right now we're doing these kind of quick classes, hour and a half long, on Saturday, the 27th of September, $33. How to embody the energy of the Phoenix, right? This is what the United States is doing. We're going to be the Phoenix. We're going to rise up out of the ashes. Well, that also means you and I are going to be rising up out of the ashes because our whole country is doing it. So Afefe and I are teaching a class on how to master change, how to move through change, how to not let change throw you off of your game, and instead go through the rest of 2025, go into 2026 with a laser focus on your future, on who you are. You know, we talk about during this whole video about how smoke screens and how everything is obscured and it's really hard to know what is happening. And during that time, it affects us. It affects me. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going this way. I don't know if I'm going that way. Well, after this class, you're going to have a plan. You're going to say, okay, these are the things I identified, and maybe I'm going to add more, but I'm going to start off with these things. And this is where I'm going to focus. This is what I learned about myself. These are the crystals, the kernels of information of important, my soul imprint, what I came here to do. Who am I? This is important. I'm going to laser focus on this. I'm going to let all these yahoos do their thing until I'm called on the field. Right now, we said earlier, take a break. Just take a break. We all deserve a break. Work on you. Working on you will raise your vibration. It'll make you happier. It'll make you healthier. It'll bring more money into your life. And guess what? Those people don't want us to do that. They don't want us to succeed. They want us to fail. They want us to fall down and just be crumbled into the ground. They're doing a good job of it, right? Well, we want to help you pump your energy up so that you can understand, yes, that's happening. I'm not saying it's not happening. Yes, it's terrible. However, I'm Susan. I still have to move forward with my life. And believe me, as I'm moving forward with my life, I'm raising my vibration. I'm having a better idea of where I'm going. I'm modeling that behavior for those other people who are lost. They're like, wow, hey, Susan, what are you doing? Help me out. And you say, yeah, this is what I did. Like, do these things. You're leading by example. You're not abdicating your citizenship. You're not abdicating what you came here to do. You're actually doing the thing you came here to do. You're leading by example. Okay. So however you learn that, however you do that, please tap into it, ground your energy, take really good care of yourself. Do online Reiki. If you have the extra funds, go get Reiki done. Go get all the self-care done that you can. Trade with people. Do what you can to help yourself, because this energy isn't going to allow, this energy is not an energy where you go into the cave and you wait for the storm to go by. Like, you're in the cave, but you're making plans. for when the storm goes by. You're not in the cave cowering or hiding. The energy doesn't support that. The energy's like, oh, Susan's in the cave. She's making plans. She's taking good care of herself. When the sun comes out, she's going to walk out feeling good and be able to really move forward. Whereas everybody else is going to crawl out on their hands and knees like, what bus with that? What train hit us? We're going to be moving forward. That's what I want for you. Okay. Check out my website, susanlynnmedium.com, for classes for my upcoming event in Santa Fe, New Mexico in November. It's all there on my website. And check out the other channel, Susan Lynn, Spiritual Navigator. That's where a whole resource is for you to move through this energy, to adopt these changes, and it works because I've done this work for so long. I have clients, friends, students that I know 5 years ago, and I know them today. And I'm telling you, their energy is not even anything you can recognize. They've completely changed. And they didn't spend thousands of dollars. They simply, did the $12 a month membership. They simply paid attention to themselves. They said, okay, how do I feel? What do I need to know? They were literally dialed into themselves instead of letting this mayhem distract them and crush them, because that's what they want, right? That's not what we want. Take really, really good care of yourself. I'll see you again really soon. For entertainment purposes only,